Alright, now we've pressed open the seam, as you can see, and here is our beginning little square that I showed you how to line it up. This matches this, so there's our seam. So when we would open this up, we would have this, I'm not sure what you call that, no, it's maybe a parallelogram. Anyway, this being the bias, and this is the selvage, as it was when it was a square. This was the selvage, these were the bias. Alright, now I want this bias to be 2 inches. Normally I cut it 2.5. I'm going to line my ruler up here. I'm going to cut on the bias, and I'm going to do 4, 5, 6 inches maybe, or a little more. It's not crucial. You want to do a little bit. Now there it is. Missed a spot. Okay. Now the next step, you're going to take this point, the point of the big part, and you're going to drag it up here to the seam right above it. Now here's the hard part. Everybody gets lost on this, but don't let it fool you. It's really quite simple. You're going to take both corners here, and you're going to pivot this. You want this corner to come up here and align 1/4 inch in, just like we did when we did the first seam. And you're going to put a little pin in here so you don't get lost. I'm going to straighten this out a little bit. Now, I've been doing these a long time. I don't even use pins. I'm doing this so you can see it. And I'm coming over here, and I'm going to put another pin at this seam. And then we're going to take it to the sewing machine, and you all know how to sew, and you've seen me sew. I'm just going to quickly sew up this little seam here, and then I'm going to press it open. And what you'll notice is that we've got a piece here which will be the very end piece of your bias, and you've got the starting piece of your bias over here. So let me sew this seam and press it open. I'll be back in a minute, and then I can show you what's left. Alrighty, we've pressed the second seam open now, and if you've done this correctly, you're going to see that you've got this little triangle type point here and one down here, and you've got your little flopsies off the corner. Now, right-handed people could cut it just perfectly from this position, but because I'm a lefty, I'm going to turn it right side out. And here I've cut a section off of an old mat that I had. Again, you don't need to always have the best. Put it over here. I'm going to line this up on here, and I'm going to just put my little ruler on here. I'm going to cut 2 inches and move it. Looks like I need a new blade. Roll it a little bit. I'm just going to keep cutting until I'm totally finished. It's only going to take me a few minutes. I can do enough bias binding for a queen size quilt in probably 15 minutes with absolutely no more seams than what you've seen here. This is strictly a 2-seam project. It doesn't matter how big your quilt is, you're going to sew just 2 seams, and you're going to do it just like this in no time flat, and it won't take you very long before you're an absolute pro at this. Now you'll notice here that this is a little bit off. It's not going to matter, because when we press this closed, you're going to fold it and you're going to press it, and it's all going to even itself out, and by the time it's been stitched and rolled, you won't have a clue that you ever had that little irregularity there. Alright, I've been cutting along, and now I'm down to the very end, and you'll see that I didn't have enough to do another full turn. I probably read my little chart wrong, but that's okay. So what I'm going to do is lay my ruler up here so that I'm aligned on this. I'll cut this edge off so I've got the right angle, and then I'll finish cutting my little 2-inch strip here. Okay, So we're all done with that, and we're going to press. And I don't mean that we're going to iron. We do not want this stretched. We just want to press it in a nice, neat fold. And so all you're going to do is fold it over and set down on it a few seconds so that you don't stretch it. Now, one of the problems that we have with bias binding, and I'm sure all of you do, is you wait till the last minute to do your bias and then you realize you don't have a big enough piece. So what you need to do, or what we've decided to do so that we don't have a problem with it, is that we cut the quilt, we decide what the backing and the binding is going to be, we make the binding, and we store it with the quilt top or the quilt pieces until it's ready to put on. That way you can never accidentally cut into the wrong piece. You don't have to worry about losing it. And a lot of people dread doing the binding, so if it's all ready for you, it's much faster. Alright, I finished pressing it. Now we're going to take a little clothespin that I kind of stole from my mother-in-law's laundry basket, and we're just going to put that in there, and we're going to turn it. Not too tightly, because we don't want to stretch it, but what we're going to do is just keep turning till we finished it all, and then we'll tap it a little bit, and what we end up with is something that looks like this. This is enough for a twin size quilt. I've got a little baggie. You could wrap it in saran wrap, but we'll put this one in a baggie because this is going with a sample. I'll close it up, slit a little hole up in here, hang it on the hanger where the quilt is going to be put until I get time to quilt it and get it ready for demonstration. So thanks again for coming. Please visit us at www.quiltsuppliesforyou.com. I'm Sally Dolan, and if there's anything I can do to help you with any of the instructions I've given on any of my videos, you're welcome to contact me on my Facebook or Sally at quiltsuppliesforyou.com.